Hello, fellow travelers and inhabitants of this insane universe. And it is insane and getting more insane by the day, is it not? And Trump's blockading of Iran is just the latest in a litany, in a tsunami of insanity. But the title is just barely tongue-in-cheek. I'm always just barely tongue-in-cheek. It may as well be real, and soon enough it may be. Who knows? America to begin bombing Israel. And I'm surprised nobody has mentioned this or used this as an example of, well, if you're going to blockade Iran to one-up Iran, why not bomb Israel to one-up Iran, right? Because Iran's bombing Israel as well as blockading the Strait of Hormuz. But let me explain. I'm going to dive into that and clarify it and elaborate on it. If you haven't picked up on where I'm going with this already, some of you may have. You're intelligent enough to pick up on that. Others, maybe, what, huh? Well, let's see. Let's start with my friend here, Jesse Dollemore. Okay, he's not my friend, but I do like Jesse. I think he gives great criticism of Donald Trump. I'm sad that he's a Democrat and that he supports the Democratic Party and he provides apologia for them, albeit he does criticize them on certain occasions, rightfully so. He doesn't criticize them enough, and he still believes that electoral politics can save us or provide a solution to what ails us, and I'm well beyond that point. Maybe one day he will be too. He's not yet. He's still a firm believer in it. I don't know whether he's affiliated with the Democratic Party and he takes, money from them or what, but nonetheless, I like his criticisms of Donald Trump, and he makes me laugh. He's a funny guy. So check out this video. I'll leave a link to it, to Dollemore's video here, but I just wanted to touch on this one segment as the jumping off point here where we can discuss this further. So here's Jesse discussing this latest insanity.
Single clip. But in this goes a bit further, and I don't know whether J.D. Vance is trying to sabotage Donald Trump or not. But in this clip I'm getting ready to play for you, where he was on with Bret Baier last night on Fox News, he ultimately just calls Donald Trump a terrorist in this clip. That Iran, they are economic terrorists, and Donald Trump saw it and said, oh yeah, two can play at that game, and then committed his own economic terrorism. This is from the mouth of the vice president. This is from the mouth of the man Donald Trump handpicked to be his vice president, a man who has called Donald Trump himself America's Hitler in the past. So I don't know what's going on here, but watch this and marvel with me at the lack of ability to come up with just a single messaging strategy here on the part of J.D. Vance and the administration. These things aren't done in a vacuum. These are workshopped and talked about. How are we going to address this? Or maybe they're not anymore.
But Brett, here's the very interesting thing about all this is that the only thing the Iranians have been able to do, they haven't, of course, beaten us militarily. They've had their military been decimated. They haven't been able to prosecute the case when it comes to weapons of war. What they have done is engage in this act of economic terrorism against the entire world. They basically threatened any ship that's moving through the Straits of Hormuz. Well, as the President of the United States showed, two can play at that game. And if the Iranians are going to try to engage in economic terrorism, we're going to abide by a simple principle that no Iranian ships are getting out either. We know that's a big deal to them. We know that applies additional economic leverage. And again, Brett, the president wants the Iranian people to thrive and succeed. He has had his negotiation team put on the table a serious proposal. The ball is in Iran's court. Did we make progress? Yes. But we're going to find out from the Iranians whether we can make that ultimate bit of progress that gets us to a big deal.
You heard it. You heard it. And you don't have to be some kind of a political prognosticator or deeply entrenched in political messaging or strategy to understand that's not a good statement. That Iran has engaged in this act of economic terrorism against the entire world, and Donald Trump said, two can play at that game. What game, J.D. Vance? Economic terrorism. One, not a game. Terrorism is terrorism.
Okay, so you get the point. You get the point. He makes valid points here, but I'm going to contest him on one thing. This isn't J.D. Vance engaging in eight-dimensional chess and trying to underhandedly label or categorize Donald Trump as an economic terrorist. J.D. Vance is not that intelligent, okay? He's not. He's a political chameleon for sure. He can change his colors on the spot. He can change the narrative on the spot. And Jesse Dollemore goes into showing how he has changed his narrative on this. It changes. Well, was it Jesse Dollemore or somebody else? How he changed his narrative on the Pope about religion and politics. 6 months ago, he was talking about we need more religion and God in the public square, and then he tells the Pope, you need to, keep religion out of politics. So he's a fork-tongued snake, is all he is. Snakes aren't necessarily smart, but they're slithering, clever creatures, and that's what he is. So it's no strategy to throw Donald Trump under the bus. I don't think that's the case at all. Another thing too is J.D. Vance saying that Iran, and notice how he says Iranians. Who says Iran or Iranians? It's a purposeful mispronunciation of Iran. It's Iran. It's Iraq and Iran. Let's get this straight. Iran, not Iran, not Iran. 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 He's purposely mispronouncing it. And that is because he's being insulting and dismissive. You notice, to me, it's a litmus test that whoever mispronounces it is not to be taken seriously. They're not credible individuals. He's certainly no diplomat, because no diplomat would mispronounce Iran and the Iranian people. It's not the Iranian people or the Iranian people or Iraq. It's Iraq, Iran. Anyway, he says that Iran is effectively hijacking every ship that comes through the Strait of Hormuz. And that's simply not true. It's only the ships that are cooperating with America in America's war on Iran. He wants everyone to forget that America attacked Iran, not once, but twice, since Donald Trump took office in January of 2025. Twice. Both times it was illegal. It's an illegal criminal act, both times. Just engaging in war is an illegal act. Attacking Iran is an illegal act, unprovoked, both times. And then there's all the war crimes that are going on amidst that attack. Murdering in cold blood, 170 Iranian schoolgirls? Studs that our military is? Boy, real studs. Real studs. I saw a video today about a Marine who was murdered by a 30-year criminal who had a 30-year record of arrests. He had been arrested like 60 times or something like that. This was in North Carolina, and he got into an altercation with a Marine outside of a bar, and he had a knife, and he stabbed the Marine in the neck, and the Marine died. And ordinarily, I would feel bad for this Marine. But I don't feel as bad for the Marine because of what our military is doing to the people of Iran. And quite frankly, what our military has been doing for quite some time. We, America, not me, but America. I'm not going to say we, because I'm not included in this. I don't condone it. I don't even want to be part of it. But try not to be an American citizen. Try to go somewhere else. It's near impossible. So I'm stuck here, but I'm not on board with any of this. This is what America's been doing for quite some time. They call the killing of innocent civilians collateral damage, and yet in these wars, the majority of the people being killed are innocent civilians. Not combatants, the innocent civilians are the majority of who's being killed. You can't call it collateral damage at that point. You can call it they're the targets. That's the purpose. So yeah, I don't feel so bad or as bad for that Marine, all things considered. Don't be a damn Marine. If Trump tries to institute a draft because he wants you to go to China and fight on behalf of America, flee to Canada. In Canada, if a bunch of people are fleeing the draft there, welcome them to Canada. And beef up your military with these folks. I'm sure many of them will be willing to fight on behalf of Canada, fight America on behalf of Canada at that point. And protect Canada. How much you make? Take a poll of that. I guarantee you it'd be pretty high. Canada played their cards right. They could make that happen. They could bolster the defenses to prevent an American invasion. So, interesting calling the Iranian Republican Guard terrorists when America is the biggest terrorist on the face of the planet. It's the biggest extorter on the face of the planet. It's the biggest bully on the face of the planet. It's the biggest criminal on the face of the planet. It's the biggest murderer on the face of the planet. So yeah, Iran's not doing that to all ships, only the ones that are providing safe harbor to America and America's military. And rightfully so, considering they're under attack. That's what I would expect my country to do if it was under attack. So what's going on here, Jesse, and you should know this, is that they don't know how to make sense of explaining why they're blockading Iran right now. And because they don't, this all stemmed from them taking Richard Haas's advice. You should know this, Jesse Dollemore. The Democratic establishment knows this. Richard Haas, who's a conservative, and he and Joe Scarborough are big buddies. Joe Scarborough has him on all the time to talk about foreign policy, especially in regard to the Middle East, because that's his expertise. We'll discuss who Richard Haas is in depth in a second. Anyway, this is the Trump administration taking Richard Haas's advice, but not understanding it at all. They have no comprehension of this. This is why J.D. Vance is stupid. He doesn't have any comprehension of this. So he doesn't know how to explain this without looking like a fool explaining that, and this is what he's done. Yes, he effectively called us terrorists, which we are, economic terrorists, just like he's describing Iran as economic terrorists because of what they're doing in the Strait of Hormuz. Here it is, Jesse and Jesse's. Trump's blockade is headed for a bust. First of all, if Washington establishmentarians like the idea, there must be something wrong with it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So as soon as the negotiations between the U.S. and Iran ended without an agreement, President Donald Trump fired a volley of angry social media posts venting his frustration. As a concrete step to force Iranian concessions, he announced a blockade of Iranian ports along the Persian Gulf. Cut off Tehran's oil exports, the logic goes, and the regime will have no choice but to bend to Trump's will. This thought process is being echoed and amplified by influential Washington voices who should know better. Take Dennis Ross, a former Middle East peace negotiator and Biden administration employee, member. who argue that the blockade always made more sense than seizing Karg Island. It stops Iran's exports, its revenues, is a counterpoint to their closing the Straits of Hormuz. He also thinks that the measure will put pressure on China to pressure Iran. Meanwhile, Richard Haass, the former president of the Council on Foreign Relations, praised the announcement and suggested the U.S. should also propose a new governance authority for the strait in which Iran participates but doesn't control. In fact, he praised it because it was his idea. He had put it out before any of this, and the Trump administration took his idea and ran with it. They don't know why it's a good idea, the Trump administration. They just took his advice and did it because, why not, right? Shit, why not? This is wish casting disguised as strategy. A blockade is not a clever alternative to military strikes. It is, in fact, an act of war, and one that carries serious risks. The very idea of an American blockade ignores the legal reality. When has that ever stopped America, right? Any legal realities? Under international law, Article 3C of the UN General Assembly's definition of aggression considers a naval blockade of a sovereign state's coasts an act of armed aggression. That entitles Iran to use all necessary means to defend itself. You cannot, and that is why Iran is doing what it's doing in the Strait of Hormuz to begin with, because this is a war of aggression by the United States against Iran. So already, America is in violation of this article, and therefore Iran is doing what it's doing in the Strait of Hormuz because it is entitled to use all necessary means to defend itself. This is a war of aggression by the United States and Israel against Iran. It's unprovoked, therefore it's a war of aggression. You cannot propose a governance authority while your warships are blockading a nation's lifeline. Haass' suggestion of a structure where Iran participates but doesn't control is therefore a non-starter. Tehran will never surrender control of its sovereign waters to an arrangement designed by the same power that just declared a blockade. In practical terms, Trump has made it clear he would not permit any vessel that had coordinated with Tehran to pass. This sweeps aside the new fragile status quo where some traffic continued under Iranian acquiescence. So there you have it. Trump doesn't know why Haass suggests, and I don't agree with Haass's presumptions related to this blockade or to this clown's, Dennis Ross's. They just assume that China will just be fine with it. China's not going to challenge the United States on this if Trump orders the American military to hijack Chinese vessels or vessels headed for China with Chinese oil. And that's the main ships we're talking about. Iranian exports of oil mostly go to China. And so the assumption here by Ross and Haass too, I presume, is that China will just roll over as it always does and capitulate to America because they're afraid of America. I don't think that that's a valid assumption. I don't think that's a valid assumption at all. China knows what I know, what you know, or you should know, is that this is an illegal war of aggression by the United States upon Iran, and Iran has every right to throttle traffic through the Strait of Hormuz in order to defend itself. Any and all means they're entitled to defend themselves because America and Israel have engaged in an illegal, aggressive war on Iran. China knows that. So they think China's going to apply pressure to Iran to, hey, just roll over for them, all right? Who cares if they murdered a bunch of your leaders and a bunch of your people and little schoolgirls and they're trying to decimate your country entirely? Who cares about that? Just roll over here and capitulate to them. I mean, the audacity, the temerity, they truly are living in a bubble. And that is the problem with establishmentarians. They're living in an echo chamber, in a bubble. They're secluded. They're incapable of seeing the larger picture and the larger context. And they're the so-called experts, so to speak. You know, Trump sees it this way. He doesn't understand Haas's flawed reasoning for blockading. He doesn't understand it at all. And this is why they're fumbling over this, trying to explain this from a narrative perspective. They can't. This is another reason they're highly incompetent for so many reasons. They don't care because they're grifters. They're all power-hungry grifters. They don't really care that they're incompetent in fomenting policy and coming up with narratives to explain their reasonings. They don't give a crap about that at all, and it shows. They don't know how to explain this. This is why J.D. Vance effectively said America is economic terrorists. Of course, we know America are economic terrorists. They're not only economic terrorists, they're terrorists in every way, shape, or form. But we already know they're economic terrorists for other reasons. And for this reason too, actually. Because Trump and J.D. Vance are not implementing this blockade for even Haas's reasons. They're perfectly fine with being economic terrorists. But it is laughable because it's kind of like you're scratching your head going, in Trump's mind, you can see him saying, and I truly believe this is how it is in Trump's mind, Trump's juvenile mind. You have to understand, folks, Donald Trump has never progressed beyond his teenage years mentally and emotionally. He hasn't. He is a juvenile. In every sense of that, he's a juvenile. He has arrested development. This is why he prefers young girls, because they're his speed. Young girls are his speed. As a matter of fact, I'd say young girls are even smarter than him. They're even more mature than him. But this is why he prefers young girls and rapes them as a pedo, because his mind is that of a juvenile and always will be. This is why Melania is his wife. She's, for all intents and purposes, a little girl. She's a juvenile. They've never matured beyond their teenage years. They are stuck there forever. And this man holds the most powerful position in the world. Not for long, and maybe it isn't now. But traditionally has been for the past 50 years or more. Maybe 70 years. It's beyond the pale. It's unimaginable, yet here it is. Here it is. It's like the Sesame Street. Is it Sesame Street? Maybe it's Sesame Street. That thing where I can do anything you can do better. I can do anything you can do better. That's what he's saying to Iran. So you have a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz? I can do it better. I can do it even better. Or it's like that game you played as a juvenile where somebody, this is juvenile, right? That's juvenile, what I just said. This is juvenile, that where someone's saying something to you and you keep repeating their words right back to them and you won't stop and it drives them crazy. This is what it is. This is what this is for Donald Trump. This is what the blockade is for Donald Trump mentally. It's not what Richard Haas's reasoning. This is Donald Trump's reasoning. It's juvenile. For him, it's juvenile. And so this is why I said, what's next here? Well, what's next is, in this, I can do anything you can do better, and repeating everything that Iran keeps saying, why not the next step be America to begin bombing Israel, right? Because Iran shortly will be bombing Israel again, if it's not already, with this so-called ceasefire. So Iran is going to be continually bombing Israel because the war is still on. This war of aggression of America and Israel against Iran is still going on, folks. This really is not a ceasefire. It never was. I never thought it was. I knew it wasn't. It's not a ceasefire. So the war is still on. This war of aggression, illegal war of aggression, according to that United Nations article, is still ongoing. And so Iran is going to be continuing to bomb Israel. So therefore, Trump, with his rationale as to the blockade, therefore should also be bombing Israel. Since he's also blockading the Strait of Hormuz like Iran, he should be bombing Israel. So therefore, we should be looking for the headline any day now, and for him announcing, as he's accepting his McDonald's order at the doors of the White House, America will begin bombing Israel today to one-up Iran, because I can do anything they can do better. Right? Right? This insane world, fellow traveler, fellow inhabitant, this insane universe. It's beyond the world. Insane universe. Oh, right? Like this, huh? Do you love that? Do you love this? Is that oh, if only. Oh, if only the celebrations, right? Celebrate good time. Come on. There's a party going on right here. A celebration to last throughout the year. I swear the celebrations would be far and wide. Anyway, here's Richard Haas, by the way. Richard. Here's Richard. Richard Haas is on Joe Scarborough all the time. This is how I remembered Richard Haas, and I knew that he was affiliated with the Council on Foreign Relations. He's a conservative dirtbag. And do you think it's any surprise that he has a hard-on for Iran? Do you think it's any surprise? I mean, look down here. What's that on his head? A yarmulke. Imagine that. Well, why do you think there's a yarmulke on his head? Because he's Jewish. Oh, surprise. He's Jewish. He's Jewish, and he wishes to see the end of the Iranian civilization as well. Okay, yeah. He was a member, apparently, of the George Bush administration. Imagine that, George Bush administration. And here he is, right next to the Quaker Oats man. See the Quaker Oat man? Who wore the pants in this family? This fella or this fella? I'm going to say this fella right here. Anyway, here he is with his, he's getting his William Colby look on. Absolutely. I'm guessing he's before Congress there. And he made sure to wear the William Colby glasses. And you think I'm kidding here? Look at the glasses. Okay, and here's William Colby. Look at that, huh? This is a stylistic choice, folks. Look at that. Look at those glasses. Look at those glasses. William Colby. He's got the William. Either he advised himself or someone advised him, listen, go for the William Colby look, all right? Oh, and FYI, the recent kerfuffle with the Pope and all that, one of the people behind that, I guess aside from J.D. Vance, considering he's a newfangled Catholic, is Elbridge Colby. Elbridge Colby is the grandson of William Colby. And Elbridge Colby has taken a similar route to his grandfather. And I'm guessing he's a psychopath just as his grandfather was. And Elbridge Colby is one of the people that has taken the Pope to task and has been threatening the Pope. The Colbys, by the way, are Catholic. So he's a Catholic. I guess he is. I don't know. He's a practicing Catholic or they carried on the Catholic tradition. But William Colby was a Catholic. So interesting that, huh? The psycho-Catholics. I've got no love lost for the Catholics. I will tell you that right now. I have no love lost for the Catholics. The Catholic couple that I've held up, maybe in another video, Christy and Chuck. Christy and Chuck. Chuck, the all-American. The attorney, the all-American attorney, and Christy, the good Notre Dame Catholics. I despise them. I despise everything they stand for and everything they represent. They are despicable. They're despicable. I have no love lost for the Catholics. American Catholics in particular, though, and especially the middle class and upper class American Catholics, they're the worst. They're the worst. I went to a Jesuit college preparatory school. I didn't belong there. I did not come from that stock. I was given a financial scholarship. It was charitable for them to allow me to go there. And truthfully, even though it was a great education, I resent having gone there. I wish I never did. I didn't belong there. And that's been clear to this day that I never belonged there. But these rich, privileged scumbags, that's all they are. I despise them now. Whenever the Jesuit Today magazine from that school comes in the mail, I toss it in the trash can, don't even look at it. I have no contact with anybody from that school any longer, and I won't. I despise the Catholics. And many of these Catholics voted for, especially the middle-class Catholics and the upper-class Catholics, are Trump supporters and have been. That Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett or Bryant, whatever her name is, she's a Catholic. And she's a Catholic, one of many on the Supreme Court, Catholic-dominated Supreme Court, that has given Donald Trump, specifically Donald Trump, license to kill, like 007, given him license to do whatever he damn well pleases. And boy, has he taken that and run with it. So I have no respect for American middle class and upper class Catholics. I do respect the Pope, this Pope in particular, butting heads with Donald Trump and Donald Trump's administration and holding his ground. I do respect that. But these Catholics, they're as complicit in Donald Trump being in the Oval Office again as is Merrick Garland and Joe Biden, which is forever Garland's and Biden's legacy. They slow-walked the investigation of Donald Trump, and I believe, and I've said this in other videos, they did it on purpose. So they are complicit in Donald Trump being president again and everything that he has done since then. They're complicit in it. They are absolutely complicit in it. So yeah, that's it for now. America to begin bombing Israel. Look for that headline any day now, maybe even any hour now, right? Take care, everybody. Bye.